here before you get yourself killed. Don't know where you came from, stranger, but you best keep your head down. There's marauders hereabouts, and worse, landing violators. Gall on that rung leech. Landing in the Vale without using an official Spacer's Choice landing pad. I'd slap him with a fine... You pulling my limb? I mean, yeah, of course. Marauders. Bunch of addle-brained derelicts. I could round them up all by myself. I just, you know, need a couple of winks to catch my breath. Stretch my legs, son. Well, sometimes. Management's real good at cost-benefit analysis. But, you know what? You're right. It's time we...
Here we go. Got a new mark! Crossbow! Waste of company ammo.
Please be informed that this vessel contains no valuable plunder. Unauthorized access of spacefaring vessels is a crime. Please submit yourself to the authorities. Hello, Marauder. I am Ada, the autonomous digital astrogator of this vessel. Please be informed that I am authorized to use violent retribution against unwanted solicitors. Please return any I detect an elevated heart rate. Jettison procedure. You are still here. I am incapable of... I understand. I am programmed to take orders exclusively for... Well done, Captain Hoff. Unfortunately, our engine is currently... The main drive's power regulator has been irreparably damaged and must be replaced. Astutely observed. How high-capacity power regulator. I have taken the liberty of printing you a new This cartridge identifies you. Best of luck in your search.
Say, this wouldn't happen to be your ship, would it? Because you sure walked in it like it was your ship. And if this ship is your... I'll waive your fee since you helped us with those marauders. Edgewater's not too far. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Whoa, hey, where'd you come from? Don't go ambling out in those hills. That's marauder territory, friend. Ain't safe out here. You'd best head into town. Avail yourself of Edgewater's high walls. And low prices. Pleased to make your acquaintanceship. I'd shake your hand, but I've been hauling corpses. You don't want none of that on you. Name's Silas. Junior in humor for the town of Edgewater. We're all part of the Spacer's Choice family. Definitely not the junior in humor. If you've got business... Look, you obviously ain't a work... Got a knack for being discreet-like? Edgewater is a company town. Board-owned. Renting means money. Money means paper. 4 workers still haven't paid up. Conrad's got a barbershop in town. Phyllis works at the cannery most hours. You'll find him in... He just is. Look.
Huh? What? I wasn't dozing off.
The grease monkey, Argo? Seems we've got a guest. Really now, Parvati, I do wish you'd spoken up. I do apologize. I was given no forewarning of your arrival, or I might have welcomed you at the gates myself. You were saying, Miss Holcomb.
It's just what Bess needs is a proper refurbish. I can bandage her up and what all, but she's just... old. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll do better.
And I do wish you'd stop referring to our cannery as Bess. My apologies. I am not in... I'm Reed Thompson, Outpost Administrator. I cannot help but notice you are not in uniform. Yes, so it dawns on me. Seems I allowed my excitement to run away with my wits. Been a few seasons since we've had a visitor pass through.
Only regulator we got is hooked up to the town transformer. Mr. Thompson ain't liable to be keen on dis-
I beg your pardon. I can't let you have our power regulator. But... there's a power regulator in the old... Go down to the geothermal plant. You're the first stranger to wander into town in an age. Scripture tells... I was not entirely sure how to tell you this. The people living in the botanical labs, they're deserters. My hope is that by cutting off... Speak to their leader, Adelaide. Tell her the power's about to go. Adelaide's older than the other deserters. She's... That reason was me. I asked too much and pushed... We belong to one community. The Spacers' choice...
My dad told me all about the plant. Taught me all he knew. I mean, if that's all right with you, Mr. Thompson. Sir.
I hesitate to part ways with Miss Holcomb. You will need an administrative passcode in order to enter the plant.
Great! I got my wrenches and diagnosticators and hairpins and engine tape, so I'm all set.
Well, I am glad to hear that. Best of luck to you.
Hey, mister, can we talk? Sorry. You got a minute? Sorry. You just want to get out of here. And you likely don't want to tag along like me. It's just... Mr. Thompson has his own view. Sure, it all comes together seamless in his own head. And I reckon he means well, for all that. It's just... he doesn't always get where other folk are talking from. To Mr. Thompson, a person's a gear. It does its job quiet-like. If it's life's hard here. Especially for them that don't fit in so well. Mr. Thompson's aiming to take away their power. They'll have no... I think you should talk to the town's vicar about it. Max, his name is. Thanks, mister. I just think when you gotta make it, that's what my dad used. I've always felt weird in here. It's too clean.
Yes, what is it? You're an outsider. And Ms. Holcomb as well.
Just tagging along.
I so rarely get new people to talk to. Name your poison. Any...
What?
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in I can't imagine what would be so... depriving them of safety from the marauders and wild... I can see why Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Assuming your goal is to save his... Not if things are left to stand as they are. If you don't mind a bit of unsolicited advice, be cautious on your... One of the reasons I transferred here, I happened to... My retrieval effort. It's a handwritten journal. A faded blue... Thank you.
Incoming! We did it! I'm ready for this! We're pretty good at this! Here they come! Careful, it hurts!
Move along, stranger. We don't want any trouble. I don't know you. Whatever you're looking for, it ain't here. Move along. Armed strangers wandering into my camp for one. Some of my camp wandering out for another. Got anything in you besides questions? No, I'm sorry. That was unworthy of me. Lady named Zoe went missing some nights ago. Just up and vanished without a trace. Now I'm pacing around wondering if marauders got to her. I've crossed off my share of marauders. This ain't about them. I go looking for Zoe, I leave the camp undefended, seeing as I'm the only one of us who knows her way around a gun. Hence my dilemma. It's not like Zoe to go wandering. Figured she might be out scavenging, but that ain't exactly her talent. Can't imagine where she's gone. Vale's a wide place. She could be anywhere. Could do without the gallows humor. Over in the hothouse, tending crop. I'll tell you what I can. Vex me. If she told anybody, they ain't telling me. Little ways ago, she was always obsessing over... Could be. Dangers aplenty out there. Marauder gang just moved into... Well, enough to know we never got on. Zoe and Stefan were close. If anybody knows the workings of... She was lazy and thoughtless, but she's still one of our own. What is it?
If you're hungry, there's meat turning on the spit outside. If you're bearing illness, find a place to lay your head down and I'll fetch you a poultice. Whatever your troubles with Edgewater, leave them at the gates and be welcomed here. Any questions, dear? I have been called that, among other things. Green Thumb, grandmother, the strange old lady who keeps flowers. But yes, Adelaide will do just fine.
Excuse me, Miss McDevitt? Sorry, it's just... You got such pretty trees in here.
Why, thank you. You're Robert's girl, aren't you? I remember when you were but a sprout. Thomas speaks of you often. Are you staying long? You should try some of my tobaccorn tea. I brew it in an old spittoon, but it's been cleaned. Reed Thompson, you here on behalf of that cold-eyed reptile? Let's hear it. What's Reed's idea of peace, then? Make amends. Spare me. Only thing Reed knows how to make is a mess. Like everything else that comes out of Edgewater, that peace offering is canned. I and my own are living just fine out here by ourselves. You're doing this for Reed? Why? Cannery's got a regulator. You want ship parts, you ought to rip 'em out of the cannery's guts and leave us be. If you're going down to the plant, you should divert power away from Edgewater and toward our end of the grid. Think about it. You'd be liberating an entire town from a lifetime of service to that odious cannery. Seems the sort of thing a hero would do. Well, if it's all the same to you, then you ought to divert power over to us, shut down Reed's cannery, and scrap it for parts. You've seen that miserable excuse for a town with your own lamps. Hollowed-out workers laboring their lives away at the cannery, living off whatever scrap Spacer's Choice throws them. You know that's true, don't you, Ms. Holcomb? Your father died of overwork. His heart gave out.
He was tired all the time, sure, but he was old, ma'am, and he raised me all by his lonesome.
Look what they did to this child. Lost her family to the company, and still she defends them.
I'm all right. I ain't so fragile.
That was unkind of me. I'm sorry, dear. It's not much of a living. Every single person in that town has sold themselves to Spacer's Choice. The company owns them. Body, blood, and bones. You've been there. You've seen it. All anyone ever does is toil over a cannery. They give their lives for some heartless corporation, and then they're tossed into a Spacer's Choice brand cemetery. So, what do you say? Divert power over to us. Shut down that abominable cannery for good. I trust you will listen to your conscience.
I always wanted to poke around in here.
Process.
Everyone all right?
Search.
Here they come! The control room should be off to the right. I hope we're doing the right thing.
Unexpected noise. Searching.
Here they come! Don't mess with us. Three switches. That'll be easy enough.
Halt.
Here they come!
Unexpected beginning.
We made it!
No, 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 just leave me alone. Get away! No, 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 just leave me alone. You're not real. You're not real.
Mind the steam. You're liable to get scalded.
You're not real. You're not real.
Unexpected. Processing. Beginning.
That's the last of them!
Unexpected.
Here they come! Two more. What'll happen to Miss McDevitt's folk if we send power to the Vale?
You're not real. You're not real.
To go. If we send the power to Miss McDevitt, what happens to the Vale? That's the last. I'm not sure what the right is. Alls I know is the decision's made. Once we do this, there's no going back. Hey, mister? Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you. Do you understand what you're about to do? I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished. Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something. Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order. think you did the rightest thing you could sending the power back to Edgewater. A lot of people would have suffered otherwise. People I care for. Even if they care much for me. That's on account of how I never met her. It's hard to miss what you never knew. I don't ponder it over much. She was in another division of the Spacer's Choice family. She worked in the Vale a few months, sorting the cannery computers. Her contract said any kids she had, expected or not, belonged to her office from the time of conception. So when I was born, I got sent here. Well, I don't know about normal. Dad said she worked under some kind of special contract. It's sensible. Dad just fixed machines. She did some kind of crazy math, high-level stuff. Better to raise me on his time than hers. You mean about the mission being too clean? I know, but Vicker says the universe is real machines? The machine Fixing the universe is a job for somebody.
System processing.
Incoming! Oh, that's Thomas. He used to follow me around before he left the cannery. Where are we headed?
That's the thing about growing old. Your eyes start to fail. Elsewise, I would have seen you for the snake that you are, chopped you into pieces and roasted you on a spit. This is all you're doing. Cutting off my power, killing off my garden. Without refrigeration, my food will spoil, and my flock will starve. I want to ask you this in private, away from the eyes of my flock, so they do not see me lose my temper. Tell me, why did you do it? You want my flock wasting their lives in that cannery? Fine. Go and talk to them. Go talk to Grace and Thomas. Look them in the eye and tell them their life here is over, and the only thing left to do is go back to Edgewater. This is now your responsibility. And you tell Reed Thompson that I will never return to Edgewater. I would rather die among my flowers than live under his management. My son worked in that cannery. When the plague started coming, he was one of the first to fall sick. We had a store of medicine locked away, but Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't deserve treatment. Said the medicine would have been wasted on him. So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings, and left. That's as much of the story as you need to hear. As long as Reed is still in Edgewater, I will not return. Those are my terms.
Everybody keeps staring at me. It's not my fault the power's dead. Whoa, Miss Parvati. You're, what, how are you? Hi. Hello.
Are you, are things safe out here? How are you keeping?
Great, just great. I've been trying to keep stuff running, just like you.
Oh gosh, no, I'm just along with this fella here.
I've seen you wandering around here. Never heard it phrased in such a way before. I guess we're all trying. Sorry, fact is I've been, well, lying. I'll take all the help I can get. I set my mind to learning the craft of the engineer, you see. I want to make something of myself. You ever heard of the Young Spacer's Guide to Mechanical Engineering? Comes in a set...
Those are good. My dad kept a copy with him when he was working in the cannery.
I know the old community center kept a... Would you? I'd be grateful. I've been thinking about going back. I get sick thinking about working at the cannery. I can't do that again. I mentioned those manuals on mechanical engineering. Suppose if I had...
Marauders can't see us in the dark. Wild canids, on the other hand. The matter's been... I'm staying put until I know what's become of...
Here they come!
Kill them! You're gonna suffer!
Okay.
One of us want to go see what happened?
Any luck finding one of those manuals? No kidding! Really? Well, which one? Look at that! Building a computing machine out of... I appreciate you. In fact, I put aside something special on the... Well, don't keep... Ain't that just ironical? If I'd worked a little... 2 whole data packs. What's on your mind? Couple months. This can't... I owe them my life. We all left the cannery for one. I mean, I was incompetent.
You weren't incompetent. You just didn't fit the cannery. Not like here.
You could stay, you know. Here. I'd be happy to... I get... You know something? I could do a lot of good in Edgewater. It's just... Adelaide... Are you sure about this? If we head back to Edgewater on our... You know where to find...
Look at that.
Any luck? I expect we got no choice. Edgewater needs us back, and loath as I am to admit. You okay with this, Grace?
Zoe's still out. If you find her, could you let me know? We'll be waiting in Edgewater.
Just give us some time to gather our personals and say our goodbyes. If you run into Reed, you tell him we're coming back, yeah?
Look at that. Good for them. I'm glad. Back to the old cannery with Grace and Thomas. I expected it'd end like this. I expect you've done enough. It is too late.
Wow! You put those marauders in the dirt quicker than the masked marketeer. Teach me your ways. Only the most dashing champion of private enterprise ever to don a mask. Until I get my start, that is. You, on the other hand, you were a sight to be... Why? Adelaide wants me back on garden duty or something? Thanks, but I'm not going anywhere. This is where I belong. And no serial dramas. I've been thinking about going back. I just gotta know if Lord Cavendish really is the masked marketeer. I'll take my stuff and head on back, I suppose. Grace is gonna be glaring knives at me, so I've got that to look forward to. I'm great at clarifying. No. I may have bartered them a few boxes. I got kicked out of Edgewater on account of falling sick with... I'd heard some outlaws set up camp in the botanical labs. I decided... Instead, what do I find? But a bunch... I don't know. Oh, you mean around these guys? The Marauders...
Back to the old cannery, huh? We didn't always get along. You pretty much did my job for... Let me know if I can do something for you.
Is this your ship? Oh my stars, she is just so handsome! Does she have a name yet? What's her drive model? Oh, gosh. Listen to me babbling. When I was in Edgewater, I dreamed of flying on a real ship, working on a real engine, belonging to a proper crew. I'm the only decent mechanic Edgewater's got, but every time I think of going back, I get this sinking feeling. Well, it's kind of you to say that. And you're right. I wasn't happy. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. But can I come with you? I could tend to your engine. I know my G-valves for my catalyzers, and I can keep your ship singing. And if you ever need a pair of eyes watching your back, I can do that too. What do you think? Yes! I mean, thanks. You won't regret this, mister. Captain. I can call you Captain now. Ha! I got a captain.
Captain, I have detected that Edgewater's power supply is now optimal. I applaud your willingness to invest your time in the local community. What can I do for you, Captain? Do you know how to install a power regulator? Outstanding, Captain. Your aptitude for engineering will prove invaluable in the event of another catastrophic engine failure. Our engine room is located behind you. Across the cargo bay, up the ladders. What can I do for you, Captain? All systems are operating. I am prepared to bring the unreliable...
Another day at the cannery.
Wonder if the plague's ever gonna pass.
All right, I'm on the move.
This is a fine day, friend. Power flows through our town like a cool stream of water. I trust Adelaide's people have seen their way to reason. That's good enough for me. Adelaide and I have a history. Was unlikely she'd ever come back. But hope springs eternal. We are in your debt. I am authorizing you for a discount on all official Spacer's Choice products, courtesy of the people of Edgewater. By all means. Thomas Kemp? I remember him. Had to write him up for daydreaming a few too many times.
He tries real hard, Mr. Thompson. This is something he wants to do. That'll make him twice as good.
I will give him a chance to impress me. If he knows his way around a toolbox, I may have a place for him in the Holcomb workshop. This whole fiasco is not one I am keen on repeating. I was too hard on... With more hands at the cannery, I expect productivity will rise.
You the new worker? Whatever. Make it quick, tender. Shit. Silas still on about that. Here, take the fees. I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell Reed I was late on my payment. Because they're not my fees and not my gravesite. I could do without the sarcasm. Law requires delinquent gravesite fee. Shame, though.
I cut my own hair. But
Merciful law. Is that a marauder's outfit? I don't want you wandering into my shop wearing something you've lifted off a corpse. Please don't touch anything. Physical hygiene. Recapitulate. No, thank you. That's quite all right. I've seen enough body parts in my line of work. I'm Conrad. You will report to me if your hair fails to meet Spacer's Choice aesthetic standards. You will also report to me... gravesite fees. Silent. As broke as pie crust, I simply cannot afford it. I am a Thank you, no. Tell Silas I can't afford to pay. And that Some time ago, I fell ill with the plague. Frankly, I don't imagine I'll earn... Not a bad idea. Your idea intrigues me, but I'm afraid I don't have anything to give. Much obliged. What can I do? Oh? Am I in the company of a fellow doctor? You may think that, but the time... Whether you're showing up to work... Go ahead. Edgewater has been good to me. I am never... As the good vicar says, work... The plagues come at us with a vent... I wouldn't call them... Fever, chill. Company policy, friend. We don't have enough... Mr. Thompson's brainchild. What can I do? Go ahead. What could I... You know about Eugene? How? You were probably poking around my things. I really shouldn't leave my letters sitting out in the open. Eugene's golden teeth were a family heirloom, representing... That's unthinkable. Eugene's body and all rare earth... I can't ask Silas to dig up a man...
Are you asking rhetorically? Because if you're being serious... Ugh, gross.
Desperate measures, miss. I'm going to have to ask Silas to dig up those... I'm sure that I... Here you are. Gravesite papers affixed with my signature, and an eye... Eugene was not a suicide. I was the one who prepared Eugene's body for interment. Eugene overdosed on adrenatime. It's a miracle of bureaucracy. We can all thank our lucky stars that young Eugene... I included it all...